Rock do this with every nigga she's ever been with. From DEFCON to Hot Post. She plays them and she takes what they got. That's how she do.
Yo, what's good, y'all? It's your boy Elite. So today we're gonna be talking about the Raising Kanan season 4 premiere, and a lot of fans felt like this episode wasn't as strong as they expected, mainly due to the heavy use of flashbacks, because most people assumed that we get maybe 1 or 2 flashbacks explaining how exactly Unique survived, and then the story would unfold as usual. But instead, the episode gave us one long flashback that spanned the whole episode. So that was just a bit unexpected, to be honest. And if anything, it felt a bit lazy to me, because it's clear that they used this as a device to kind of retcon certain details into last season. And it's first of all, it's really just clear that Raising Kanan needs more episodes per season to fully flesh out their storytelling. And when you rely on flashbacks like this to fill in the gaps, especially in your first episode of the season, it just makes it obvious that things weren't planned as smoothly as they could have been. But with that said, there were still some really important details in the episode that will set the stage for the rest of the season. But now that we got past the flashbacks and the shock of that, let's break down the actual episode. So first off, let's touch upon Unique's survival in his current condition. Cause first off, Unique surviving that attack was wild to begin with, because Ronnie tossed him down the hill and his face was all busted up and everything. And from the way he was looking in that phone booth, it was really seeming like he was about to die right then and there, honestly. Yeah, it's unexpected, but head injuries can be kind of unpredictable, so I'll let it slide. And we also did get a sense that Unique is not the same man that he was before, because he's kind of confused about the timeline of events, even talking in his sleep. And his head injury might end up making him more erratic and unstable as the season goes on, because early Tyler, that's the man who saved him, doesn't really seem to be too concerned about his recovery beyond getting his money. But with Unique out for revenge, we're definitely gonna have to see just how dangerous he becomes in this condition. So just for clarification with the flashbacks and where they take place within the timeline, Kanan's narration at the start of the episode makes it clear everything you see here happened already. Meaning, even though we're watching these moments unfold, they're all events that have already taken place. For example, Unique was attacked in season 3 episode 5, so the scene with Marvin, Lou, Kanan, and Jukebox actually takes place at the same time, back when they were all at the bar watching Famous perform. And Rock meeting with her lawyer at the police station is also happening in that same time, because as we saw last season, just as she was about to head out to check out Lou's jazz bar, she got picked up by the FBI for an interrogation. And furthermore, the fact that everyone is all still wearing the same clothes from that episode just further confirms what I'm saying. So just to further clarify, most of the events that we saw within those flashbacks, they take place after episode 5, but before episode 6, within that night/next day, within that time period, that's where they all take place at. So that's why I say, in my opinion, the structure of the premiere was a bit all over the place. It's a different approach, but I can definitely see why folks will find it frustrating. So one of the more low-key moments in the episode was Marvin joking about Shirley having a thing for Famous. And you might have missed it, because even I've never heard anyone make a joke like this, not in real life. I've only heard it in books. But so it's basically a May December joke, which is an idiom referring to relationships with big age gaps, because May represents youth and December represents old age. And of course, Shirley shuts it down, but it's kind of funny that the writers added this in, especially considering that last season, some people might have speculated that Lou had a thing for Shirley. So clearly the writers wanted to put that theory to rest, so they added this little joke in there, you feel me? But the more important thing is Marvin's growing problems with the Italians, right? Because so far he's had several run-ins with them at this point. He ordered that botched hit that got, I believe it was Sal's son killed. His little mailman mission when he killed Sal. And now beating down Stefano's son-in-law. There has got to be some kind of consequence coming from Marvin this season, because in my opinion, he's been messing with them way too much. And sooner or later, it's definitely going to backfire. Now, let's talk about Rock's pregnancy for a second, because me personally, I think that this storyline was a bit unnecessary. They clearly introduced it just to deepen the impact of Unique's return, making Rock feel even more conflicted since she got rid of their baby, right? But in my opinion, there were definitely other ways that they could have explored that emotional weight without throwing in an unnecessary abortion subplot. But with that being said, I do think that this ties into one of the season's bigger themes, which is loss and generational trauma. Because Rock has always been a cold and calculated character, but deep down she's really dealing with a lot of emotional baggage, right? And she might act like she probably doesn't care about the abortion and stuff like that, but I feel as though we're gonna see her suppressing her feelings and eventually break down later on the season. And another thing that I found interesting was Jukebox being the one to drive home Rock from the abortion clinic, because it just furthermore shows that Jukebox is really the family's emotional anchor in a lot of ways. Because really, all the Thomas family knows that they can trust Jukebox with their secrets, which says a lot about how she's positioned in the family dynamic. And then Kanan's scene with his grandmother about her cancer was another heavy moment, because if you've ever been close to your grandma, like, you know how painful those conversations can be, right? And you can definitely tell that Kanan was really saddened by, learning of her diagnosis. And another interesting thing is how differently everyone in the family views Kanan's grandfather. His grandmother, Marvin, Rock, and Lou, they all see him in very different ways. And that's pretty realistic though, because if you were to ask 5 different people about one person, you'll probably get 5 different answers. And the show is just having us realize that Kanan's starting to understand how much perception will shape the way that people see you. And I think that's going to play a vital part in his evolution throughout this season. And then of course there's the setup for Unique's revenge, because early Tyler's instigating mad hard. He's really putting that battery in Unique's back, pushing him out there to go get his revenge. And honestly, from Unique's perspective, things do look very suspicious, because you got to think about it from his point of view. After he was supposedly killed, Rock took over his business and started working with Quan and Stefano, which was originally his lane. Meanwhile, Kanan started working with Ronnie, his brother, the same guy who attacked him in the first place. So from the outside looking in, it definitely looks like Rock lied about leaving the game and just to take over his business for herself. And then the way that this all played out makes it seem like Rock and Kanan did set him up with Ronnie, only to double cross him in the finale. So it would explain why Unique is so determined to get his revenge on them, because he genuinely believes that they were behind the attack. Now, just some final thoughts on the episode that I have not discussed yet. First of all, I did not expect to see Jessica back in Raising Kanan, least of all in the flashbacks, and seeing her being all friendly with Lou after everything she has done, it was just wild to me, like very wild. And deep down, I do feel like she probably knows what he did to Crown, because let's not forget, back in season 2, I believe, she kind of made like an offhand comment to be like, if Lou knew what the two of us was doing, he'd probably kill you. And while I don't think that Crown sleeping with Jessica was the sole reason why Lou killed him, I definitely do feel as though that played a role in it. And then finding out that Shirley technically saved Lou's life back in season 3 was another major revelation, because Unique was like, he was looking like he was on go. He was probably seconds away from pulling out a gun and shooting Lou. So I mean, given the state of mind that Lou was in back in season 3, I'm not sure that he would have survived that, not at all. But this just means that Unique has been plotting his revenge ever since Early saved him. So for him, this is not just about getting back in the game, it's mad personal. So the episode ends with us catching back up to the season 3 finale. So Kanan, Marvin, and Rock were standing over Ronnie and Howard's bodies, and then they drove away while Unique walked into the warehouse. So he heard the gunshots, saw what happened, and now he's ready to make his moves. So his hand was definitely shaking on the gun, while he was pointing it at his brother. So that definitely means that he's pressed that he was not the one to kill Ronnie. So overall, while the premiere wasn't bad, it focused a lot on flashbacks, many of which didn't feel that necessary, and it kind of ended up feeling a bit underwhelming. But now that we're back in the present day, I expect episode 2 to be much better. In a way, episode 2 is really the proper premiere of the season, and this last episode was kind of like an extension of last season. But that's it for my Raising Kanan season 4 episode 1 breakdown. Let me know your thoughts down below. Did the flashbacks work more for you? Did they feel like too much filler? Like, drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. Peace.